to playoffs. Yeah, playoffs of Owl. We're taking on Luke. He's a fantastic battler. He ranked second in the entire league on an individual level. His team, Clout9, has been making some of the most amazing comebacks I've seen in league play um, over the course of the season. They're all fantastic battlers. I got the luck of the draw to face the one who, record-wise and just personal belief-wise, I think is the uh, strongest player of the three, skill-wise. So it's a little bit intimidating, but, is what it is. So the reason I was really worried to play this game was because, well, one, I have this ABC game against Boots coming up, which I'm just taking a lot more seriously. And two, Luke uses a lot of Gen 7 Pokemon, and if you know anything about me, I don't know how to face Gen 7 Pokemon, and every single Gen 7 Mon he has is a Mon that I have not faced yet in my draft, career, per se. Toxapex, Komodo, Serena, Mudsdale, Lycanroc, Dusk, all of those very scary Mons. I'm very interested to see how I was interested to see how I would play against them, but building was a little bit interesting because I didn't know what the most common sort of sets in draft were, so I had to really operate on just some assumptions, I guess. So yeah, I'll go into the team, and then I'll go into the replay of what happened. The first Mon I brought was an Azumarill because I think Azumarill had a lot of offensive pressure this game. Yes, Serena's a pretty good switch-in. Beats the Toxapex is a really good switch-in. So for Toxapex, I did the Whirlpool Perish Song trap thing. And my goal was for Azumarill to look so defensive that he won't expect things like Play Rough or Aqua Jet, which is something that I did about 4 mocks, I want to say. And it's something that caught one of the people in the mocks off guard because they thought it was a defensive set, and then I went for Aqua Jet and they wasted him on. So hopefully I can pull the same thing off on Luke, although he's a fantastic player and might be able to figure me out. But player basically like two-shots everything absent Toxapex, which I can trap. Manectric's actually a really decent switch into this, but if I can play rough 2 shots, and Aqua Jet is there if I can, get the damage off on Manectric in the first place, since it obviously doesn't have a recovery because it's Manectric. I just thought it was a decent set. Couldn't really decide between defensive and offensive, so I just said, fuck it, let's do the middle. Salazzle is here, Pasho Berry to take a Scald from Toxapex Corrosion, so I can finally Toxic a Steel type in Jirachi or a Poison type in Toxapex. I've always wanted to do that this entire season. I've been always running offensive and been running Oblivious so I don't get taunted by my nasty plot or whatever. Corrosion seems kind of useless, which is really unfortunate because I thought it would be really cool. I actually thought that originally Corrosion meant that I hit Steel types with Poison moves, but it doesn't, which sucks. But hey, maybe they can improve it later. Sludge Wave and Fire Blast just to hit things, and then Taunt is to stop, like Calm Mind Clef, set up Komodo, going for Dragon Dance, things like Wish, Jirachi, etc. Vileplume is there to wall things like Serena, Mudsdale, Lycanroc, anything I can really do. Komodo if it's physical, which is the only set I really expected it to be. And Moonblast hit Komodo, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain hits everything else. The only thing this doesn't hit is Jirachi, so I have to make sure I don't lose a ton of momentum to Jirachi. But the defensive set and the possibility of Effect Spore definitely makes Vileplume pretty threatening. So we'll see how that works out. Crocodile and Mew sort of work in tandem with each other, so I'll show both sets at once. This Mew set basically just like one-shots everything on Luke's team once I set up, because once Jirachi is gone, he doesn't have not only does he not have a Psychic immunity, he doesn't have a Dark type, but he also doesn't have a Psychic resist. So that was my thought process here, and I originally was sub over Heal Bell, but I ended up realizing that if he caught me with a Toxic on the switch-in, it would be good to have Heal Bell instead. I thought this was an awesome set. The speed is to outspeed things like Komodo, and the reason I have Crocodile is to make sure I can get rid of Jirachi before Mew starts to set up, so Pursuit Trap it, and if it's Pursuit Trap it essentially. So that's the sort of idea. And then the last mon is Yanmega. It's choice specs. It hits hard. I put Psychic here as a sort of middle ground so that if he ends up running Soundproof Komodo, which is something I expected for him to be able to switch into specs Yanmega, I can hit Psychic on if I'm in front of Toxapex and he might switch into Kamo. Psychic's a good middle ground play. Doesn't force me to U-turn, and then Air Slash is just if I need to go for flinches, or if it ends up working out as the best move I can use, although usually it doesn't. So that's the team. I definitely wish I could have spent a little bit more time on it and get a little bit more help from. I mean, I got a pretty decent amount of help from the Bellowing Children this time around, thank God. So yeah, I was feeling okay coming into the game, but I wasn't super. I was trying not to let the nerves get the best of me, although I frankly couldn't live comm because I was really nervous. The pressure of 1-1 is definitely really difficult. So we'll get into the game here. See what happens. I end up leading Vileplume, which I didn't do in any of my mocks, but I figured that Mudsdale was a pretty likely lead, and I guess I was just wrong. I probably should have realized this and realized that Mudsdale was like a mon that was really there to wall my Mega Aerodactyl, even though I didn't bring it. So it was probably going to be more of a wall set instead of a Stealth Rock set, and I was probably should have expected rocks on something like Clefable and Jirachi more, because Mudsdale kind of has 4 move slot syndrome in this matchup. So definitely should have expected the Jirachi lead or the Manectric lead. That was just a poor play on my part. I think that in that case, Crocodile would have been a good lead. But, you know, the knowledge that Crocodile is so important for me made me really hesitant to lead it. I was definitely considering it, but here I go into Crocodile, get the Intimidate off. I was considering staying in and just going for the Effect Spore because I didn't think he would go for his headbutt right away. But I didn't risk it as he went for a U-turn, which is going to be really problematic because, you know, Crocodile needs to be healthy. I have no way to recover it, and it's a huge amount of chip there. So I've already sort of been on a back foot. He's gaining momentum really well, and the fact that he's special actually catches me off guard. I was looking at Komodo's moveset, and I was like, these things don't really run special, right? I saw Clanging Scales, but I wasn't like, I just figured like Dragonium Z physical would be better, but turns out he's special. Not a boosting item, thankfully, but yeah, definitely special is really interesting because it means Azumarill sort of walls him absent like HP Electric, but like I just didn't see him running that. Funny enough, he did run it. You won't see it in this game, but he did run it on his Kamo. And here I'm forced to switch out. My goal is to just take one Strength Sap and then Moonblast if he doesn't expect it, which he said he didn't expect Vileplume to carry Moonblast. A lot of people don't think Vileplume gets Moonblast or just don't think of it, so definitely something to keep in mind. But he goes in Manectric. I have to switch into Azumarill because I know it walls Kamo, and I have to switch because if I stay in, just Kamo just beats it. So yeah, he makes a very easy double switch into Manectric. That's really good here. And then I have to go Crocodile, just hoping. I almost stayed in predicting the HP Ice. I have to go Crocodile hoping that he won't Thunderbolt. But, you know, in his eyes, HP Ice is probably the best play, which he goes for here, predicting me very well. Luke is playing these first few turns fantastically, and it's just really catching me off guard. He's definitely playing, he's predicting well, he's playing well. He's playing fantastically. This is definitely like the roughest start I've had to a game. So I almost stayed with the Azumarill. I definitely hit like play rough a few times before canceling and going into Crocodile because I figured it was safer. But I ended up going into Crocodile thinking he'll Volt Switch, and it's a huge mistake because it means, one, I'm down to a range where if he ends up getting Rocks up with one of his 1, 2, 3, 4 Stealth Rockers, you know, Crocodile just goes down, which is frustrating because this Jirachi needs to go down in order for Mew to sweep. So I had to go back into Azumarill. I expected him to switch out, fearing that I was like a Scarf Crocodile that just killed him. He doesn't. He just goes for a Hidden Power once again. And now I'm forced to switch out again for the second time. As I do predict this right, but he obviously had no reason not to just go for Volt Switch, as he can easily switch into Mudsdale. On my Crocodile here, I do get a crit, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it doesn't actually end up mattering because the difference would have been pretty minuscule. And I go into Vileplume, and I'm decently happy here because I think it's a good chance for me to Strength Sap back up. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm on the back foot here. I'm losing momentum. By turn 8, I was like, I'm definitely like in a bad position because this is what was going wrong in some of my earlier mocks, was that Luke got a good lead and then just grabbed momentum really, really strongly with his Jirachi and Manectric. And I was over prepping for like things like Toxpex and Clefable, like his sort of stall, but not his U-turning, volt-turning core. So yeah, I'm definitely losing momentum here. I have to predict him to U-turn and not go for his end headbutt, and it pays off, so I get an effect spore, 30% chance to paralyze the Jirachi, which is nice, because if it is a Scarf set like I'm beginning to expect, it's going to mean that, Salazzle outspeeds, Crocodile outspeeds, Yanmega outspeeds. It's going to put me in a really nice position here. So I get the Strength Sap up against the Crocodile, against the Kamo. Now here I'm thinking, all right, I went into Azumarill last time. I don't think there's a world in which he goes for like a Z move. The only thing that he could kill me with was a Z move. Flamethrower didn't kill, Fire Blast didn't kill, Dragonium Z didn't even kill for Clanging Scales. So I was pretty comfortable staying in here and just Moonblasting, and he ends up, much to my, I was really questioning this play, but it worked out for him, goes for a Inferno Overdrive and just takes out Vileplume. So, well played by him. I was really confused, though, because I thought that I could just, go into Azumarill, take the hit, and gain a little bit of momentum back, but that's not what ended up happening, and that's just, Luke outplayed me there. So I was definitely, thinking that was a bit reckless on his part in the game, but he explained that Kamo was pretty expendable for him, so making the play was sort of a no-risk option. Worst case scenario, he just gained momentum back after Kamo dies. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. And here I go for Whirlpool, thinking Toxapex is going to come out. I get it correct, but then he has a red card, which is really nice to stop like all forms of Azumarill trapping, Belly Drum likewise, etc. So really, really good prep by Luke. And here I thankfully get dragged out into freaking Salazzle. I'm glad it wasn't anything else. If it was Yanmega, I'd be pretty annoyed. If it was Crocodile, it'd be kind of screwing me over. He actually goes for Knockoff, which, oh god, I have something in my throat. He actually goes for Knockoff, which I didn't necessarily expect, but it was fine. And then here, thankfully, the existence of Heal Bell on my Muse coming into play, which is really, really nice. So I think I go for a Heal Bell here. I do. Now here, I wish I had just Calm Mind for the knowledge that it was Unaware or Magic Guard, but I ended up making the safe play going Salazzle. That was probably the right play anyway, as he gets his rocks up, which is it's starting to feel like the game's sort of getting away from me at this point, because rocks basically just kill Crocodile at this point. So I'm down 4-6, and my game plan was to, get rid of Jirachi at all costs. He has successfully prevented that from happening by U-turning every time Jirachi's out. I think a lot of it comes from, if I led Crocodile, I think the momentum could have gone my way at the start of the game. But, that's how crazy sometimes the starting leads can matter for the way a game plays out. So he definitely was able to grab momentum right away and just go with it. Definitely really good by him. I just end up sacking Crocodile here because I want to clean switch into Yanmega, I believe I go into. Yeah? Yes. Okay, so this was actually a misplay. I probably should have gone to Mew. But also, Yanmega wasn't a bad play. The bad play here was not going for Air Slash, ironically, because that was sort of my only way to win, to start just going for flinches, etc. And once, if Manectric wanted to come in on the Air Slash, then it would actually put it in Aqua Jet range of Azumarill. So Air Slash definitely should have been the play. Clefable definitively would have been able to take it, but at that point I would just be banking on flinches, etc. And since I'm Specs, I don't think he'd be able to sort of effectively, Calm Mind up on me or recover stall me, because I think Air Slash was doing a pretty decent chunk, and the chance to flinch was definitely really good. He makes the correct play into Manectric here. I'm down 6-3. I go for Whirlpool, sort of a last-ditch effort, hoping to leave Clefable in, because I actually still could win this in a world where he leaves Clefable in and I'm able to Perish Trap it with the Azumarill. It actually puts me in a position where Mew could actually win if Unaware Clefable goes down. At this point, I'm like very sure that it's Unaware Clefable. So here I'm like, all right, I just have to bank on the fact that Jirachi is not unaware. I'm not 100% sure of this information, but the only way I win here, like I couldn't go into Salazzle on Manectric, so I was forced to go into Mew, and there's no other play I'm going to make besides Calm Mind. So here I'm just basically forced to just pray that Clefable's Magic Guard and not unaware. I'm pretty sure he's brought Magic Guard a little bit more often than unaware, so you know, I'm hoping, but I know that on my team I have things like Hoenn-Claw's Aerodactyl, any possible setup Mew, you know, Belly Drum Azu. I just think unaware is pretty likely, but here I just have to pray, and I completely forget that freaking Jirachi gets Trick, so I just get a Choice Scarf and I lose. That's just like what it is. Thankfully, it's not a 6-0. He's forced to sack something here because in a world in which he can't go hard Clefable here because he gets two-shotted. So now he's able to go Clefable. He has to sack his Manectric. And from there, you know, he can just sort of Moonlight Stall me. I was hoping to get some Spidef drops with Psychic, potentially, because, you know, not a lot was actually going to, like, I didn't know he had Thunder Wave yet, but not a lot was going to actually, if he didn't have Thunder Wave, not a lot was actually going to hit me super hard, like Moonblast didn't really matter much to me. And, you know, he's obviously unaware by this information. He keeps Moonblasting me, he gets the special attack drop, so that sort of ruins my chances of knocking out things like Mudsdale or Kamo on the off chance I get absurdly lucky. I'm sort of hoping that he gets full parrot a little bit. I think there's some luck possibilities, but, you know, I've sort of resigned myself to, you know, if those things were to happen, I'd feel pretty bad about winning the game anyway. Goes for Moonblast, gets a crit, which just sort of prolongs the impossibility of me taking down this Clefable. And from there, he's just whittling me down with Moonblast. And I'm not even mad at this point. Like, I mean, it's like Luke played and prepped fantastically. Those first like 8-9 turns were some of the best like draft league play I've ever seen. So really, really, really well prepped, well played by Luke. He definitely had a huge ambition to take his team to the semifinals, which, you know, good on him. I think that Cloud9, by merit, probably deserves to win this season, just because, despite some disagreements I've had with some of the people on the team, just by merit, specifically Napi and Luke, their specific individual comebacks throughout the season have been particularly really impressive. And I'm not too mad. I mean, I ended up beating Metro when I faced Cloud9, our last game against Cloud9. So I don't feel like I've been vanquished by Cloud9 or anything like that, but I definitely feel vanquished by Luke. Luke is a fantastic player, definitely prepped super, super well for this game. And I have nothing but kind words. I mean, that was fantastic. The red card, you know, Toxapex, the special Kamo I didn't expect, knowing full well that he needed Trick on his Jirachi was something that I did not expect Jirachi to have whatsoever. And just gaining momentum right away, being really smart with the lead, and just getting momentum right away. That is skill right there. I'm not saying I'm definitely not saying that like him leading something completely changed the pace of the game, but it definitely did give him momentum, and that's all skill on Luke's part. So definitely unfortunate that we had to drop in playoffs. The TBC had to drop in playoffs thanks to my performance, but you know what? We did finish the season positive. I think it was like 16-14. So that's definitely really good. Pretty happy about that performance. So I thought my roommate was like behind me. It was really weird. But yeah, I don't know. Owl was interesting. I'll probably do a little recap video talking about my thoughts on it. Because I definitely do have a little bit of thoughts on it, on the league itself. So but as of now, it's a pretty unfortunate way for Owl to end for me. I felt pretty happy with my in-game performance, taking third place, tied for third place nonetheless, but third place. And you know, I ended up facing what I consider some of the best battlers in this new community that I've sort of been a part of. Isaac, in particular, Boots, who I'm playing tomorrow in ABC, yippee. You know, people like Rocky, people like, did I play Tony? No, I didn't play Tony. Cav, you know, these are all fantastic games. Even people like Scout, Sean, fantastic people who I love in this community, some of my best friends. So was definitely a good experience to have. It's unfortunate it had to end in a bit of a annihilation in playoffs, but I looked back on it and I was like, did I like screw anything up? And the answer is just like no. Like I didn't play badly. Luke just played fantastically. So I think I played pretty good. I think Luke played a little bit better. I definitely made some plays, some of which worked out, some of which didn't. But the fact that I was willing to make those plays definitely shows me that I might still have a little bit of potential to, hopefully play Luke again. I'd love to do that at some point in the future. He's a fantastic battler. I love playing fantastic battlers and trying to try my hand at facing them and seeing how well I can do. But as for now, I wish Cloud9 the best of luck in playoffs. They're my sort of pick to win. Completely based on merit. I think that just merit-wise, they completely deserve to win. So that's it. Sorry to the TBC for ending the playoffs run. I don't think we were too sure that we were gonna go far in the playoffs anyway, considering our in-game performance was sort of lackluster overall. So it's all good. I don't mind too much. I'm really excited to play for this ABC Finals game, and hopefully my emphasis on prep in that game in exchange for a little bit less emphasis on prep in this game pays off. If it doesn't, I'll be pretty upset. So we'll see how it goes. But for now, great game to Luke. Fantastic player. Would love to play you again. Thanks for the game. I'll probably do an owl recap later. Good luck to everyone else in the Owl League. I genuinely wish everyone the best of luck. Cloud9 will go on to play Team Skull. I hope Cloud9 wins. And that's it. That's all. So, yeah, I'll catch y'all later.